pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Aldermen, take me to lead us in meditation.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for all the blessings that you continue to bestow upon us. Father, we just ask you to give us wisdom tonight as we make decisions that affect the city of Hernando. Father, we ask you to be with our military around the world, Father, keep them safe, and all of our police, fire, and first responders here at home. Again, Father, we thank you for your many blessings. In Christ's name we pray.
One designated Councilman Jackson, January 6th, till 12/15.
And we can add number 23. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Item number 5, approve the docket claims. Is there any questions on the docket?
So,
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. Item 6, approve the docket claims. Any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion granted. Item 7, approve the minutes.
Approve.
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. Item 8, approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. Item number 9, request from high liquor funding.
Katie, what we give them last year?
I think you're gonna have to switch that.
What do you want last?
Excuse me.
Same as last year.
You can make a motion that it be the same, there's no increase.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. Item 10, request from the House of Grace for funding.
I'm here on behalf of House of Grace.
Step up, please, ma'am, state your name.
Okay to pull the mask down?
Yes, sir. We're 6 foot long. Thank you.
My name is Melissa DeBar, and I am here to represent House of Grace. I'm not only a local attorney that benefited from House of Grace, but I'm also vice president of their board, and they're asking for $6,300 if possible. That was granted to us in 2018-19 budget. We did not receive anything in 1920. We're asking for that in the 2021 budget if possible. We've been in DeSoto County since 1998. This House of Grace was founded in 1998, but Miss Lorraine Cady and victims, women, children, and men, and this becomes an issue. We have 24-hour crisis hotline, support groups, a facility that women and children can come to on an emergency basis and stay sometimes for a month, sometimes as long as 6 months. So that shelter has been in place since 2002, and it also is relevant, I think, that myself, as a registered nurse at the time, came to House of Grace with 3 daughters. I had a law degree at the time, but no, I did not have my license at the time. I studied for my bar exam at the House of Grace. So they not only provide some services that are emergent services, but we also are creative and try to help women and children get back on their feet. So kind of a unique story that we have, I think, to be proud of in DeSoto County, that we help transition people into better positions. So, studied for the bar exam there and had a great, I think, success story with House of Grace. I appreciate your support, House of Grace, over the years. And at this time, the statistics are that we're serving about 11% of our clients right now are from Hernando, city of Hernando. So we appreciate your support and would ask that you consider us in your 2020-21 budget.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yeah, we'd already agreed to it. We just.
Is there a motion for 6,300?
I make a motion, we continue with the agreed upon amount that we had 2 years ago, $6,300.
Do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion granted. Item number 11, DeSoto County Museum of Funding. Mr. Robert Long.
Mayor Board, City, we again come before you. We are not asking for any increase, the same as what we have received for the past number of years. I can just assure you that the investment that you have is not just a museum, but we act as an arm, a tourism arm. We work hand in hand with GIA. I know with Mr. Raleigh, we were able to find a whole bunch of maps and able to share with the city a great reservoir of historical maps that they had not seen. So whatever is asked of us from a historical standpoint or special events, our carriage rides are coming up on Saturday, November 14th. If you all will mark your calendars, it's called the Dickens of a Christmas. And we've been working with GIA on this. The county seat. We are here, we're based here, right off the interstate. We get people from Japan, Argentina, but what has really warmed my heart is we get people down the street, so they've driven up and down here 1,000,000 times, and they haven't stopped in recently. They thought they had seen everything that there was to see. But we have added a total of 9 new exhibits. We have plans for a children's museum, which is kind of ambitious if the economy improves. So that folks don't have to get in the car and drive to Memphis. They can have a children's museum right here in the county seat of Hernando. It's an investment. It's a labor of love. I love history. Outside the walls of the museum, our Spring Hill Cemetery, where we preserve the history of one of the most historic cemeteries in our region, the carriage rides, the walk tours that we do. We cannot wait for all the COVID restrictions to lift so that we can get back to doing what we do best, and that is breathing life into the rich here, beautiful town that I'll call home now for almost 2 decades. A special place in my heart for Hernando, and the relationship goes back 18 years. Again, we know how times are, so we're not asking for an increase. But on behalf of my board, I can assure you that people are appreciative, and it is money we feel well spent, and we invite you all the 14th to come down and do a carriage ride. And not only that, but please come in and see all the new that we have, not to take up else's time. I've got a list of some, and even some more things to add. Dr. Wadsworth has given us his entire medical exhibit dating back to his dad from the 1930s. So I'm really amazed. I'm native of Madison. I wish I could say that they had preserved their community as much as we have here. But the people of DeSoto have done a remarkable thing. As fast as we're growing, you can walk in the walls of that museum and you can see the people, the men and the women that made this community what it is. And so from me to all of you, we're extremely grateful. Again, we're not asking for an increase, but to please fund us at the level that you were all funded us last year. We're glad to answer any questions that you have. Anybody has any questions?
Any questions?
It is 6,000. Just yes, sir.
Any questions from the audience? Do you have a motion?
Motion approved. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion granted. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Item 12, authorize to promote Edwin Stewart to the rank of lieutenant of the Hernando Fire and EMS Department, open position.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion. 13, authorize to promote Robert Ash to rank of lieutenant of the Hernando Fire and EMS Department, open position.
So moved.
Second. Favor? Any opposed? Motion granted. 14, authorize to promote Jason Desmond to rank lieutenant of our Hernando Fire and EMS Department, open position.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Great. Congratulations. Item 15. The request for amendment to Madison Lakes Bud, they've asked to put it off to the 17th. To November 17th. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion granted. 16, request for a variance for building code requirements for a drinking fountain.
National Building Code Series. Unanimous vote approved. This code adoption included the 2012 International Plumbing Code. The applicant relocated the Area 51 ice cream to the 100 East Commerce Street address for the manufacture and sale of ice cream, which necessitated remodeling of the existing building. After the review of construction plans to address building officials' comments, building permit number 2020-3838 was issued once the plans were approved. The project has passed all inspections up to this point. The most recent inspection passed for framing, which allows the installation of drywall. The next inspection will be an above ceiling inspection. The applicant's request for a variance is included in the attachments to your staff report in the form of a letter. The building official's review comments are included and includes a note on the requirements for a drinking fountain according to the adopted plumbing code. The applicant's response to the building official's comments are also included. A copy of the original plan that did not show a drinking fountain and a revised plan that does show the drinking fountain are included. Chapter 4 of the 2012 Plumbing Code addresses the requirements for drinking fountains and is included with the applicable sections highlighted. The entire plumbing section, table, chapter 4, fixtures, faucets, and fixture fittings is included in your staff reports. Section 403 covers the minimum plumbing facility requirements. It includes table 403.1, which directs the number of required fixtures, and section 410 directly covers drinking fountains. The staff recommendation, in order to be consistent with enforcement of the building codes that have been adopted by the city, staff recommendation is for denial of the variance request. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. And Ms. Company is available if you have questions for her.
I have a question. I'm reading through the document. Makes reference to an IPC 410.4. And as I read that, it states that where restaurants provide drinking water in a container free of charge, drinking fountains shall not be required in these restaurants. And it's also my understanding that this company does provide drinking water in a container for us. So based on that, would that not override the requirement for the water fountain?
The business itself is not a restaurant in the way you traditionally think of a restaurant. They do have it where you can go in and purchase the ice cream for consumption on the site, but it's not what we traditionally consider a restaurant. And then the latter half of that paragraph you were referencing states in other occupancies where drinking fountains are required. Water coolers or bottled water dispensers shall be permitted to substitute for more than 50% of the required drinking fountains. It is our opinion that this is an other occupancy, not a restaurant.
Do they have a drinking fountain currently?
I don't believe there's a current drinking fountain in that building. With the revised plans that were submitted after building official comments, include a drinking fountain.
So you considered it not a restaurant, but other?
Yes,
What was considered there previous to Area 51? Would that have been an other?
I believe it was a retail shop previously.
Would it require a water fountain?
That would have been mercantile, and under mercantile, yes, according to the table in the code.
Did it have one, or do we know?
I don't believe it did because there's not currently one in there.
I've done a little study and research on this, and are you and Joe familiar with the history of why this is here?
All I know is what the code requires, Mayor.
The research I've done is, from years ago, they just had to change this code. It's about taking that. And if you're on medication, small towns and all that would have to provide you water to take medication. That's the research out there. And I know a lot of other merchandiles that don't have this. I don't understand why.
But I think the point is, this is, of course, we do have a vision to way with this option, correct?
You do.
And I think that's all, regardless of what the reason was of why the regulation was established, I think we can, we as a board and officials, that we can do due diligence, we can see that it is not going to be a negative, that we can wait for this out.
Right. I wanted the board to be able to why.
So, I'm not concerned about why the regulation was written, that.
So the board will know in preparation for adoption of the 2018 building code suite, we are working at loosening some of these requirements, such as this, which would, a lot of this is also based on occupancy limit. So changing so that smaller businesses like this would not be, well, as both the board said, to be more business friendly, where their customer load maybe wouldn't require a drinking fountain.
You go into the administration building right now, if you go to churches, the water fountains are covered up. You go to the state capitol, the water fountains are covered up.
Yes, I understand that, but again, the codes that the board adopted were written pre-current health crisis.
More questions for Keith?
But read the sanitation requirements for those drinking fountains.
Not in the building code.
Some people real comfortable. Ricky, help right now, we're gonna go for a bottle of water.
I don't make a motion.
I have to answer any questions you guys have. I think I tried to be as specific in the letter. It's pretty straightforward. I feel like you meet the requirement of a restaurant. We do provide water free of charge. We're a restaurant in the fact that it's really all that we have to have a food permit. We go through the health department. We're a restaurant. So to me, that's the bulk of the argument as I read the statute. And as the architect explained to me, he felt like he just put 410.2 and should have been 410. Plans that we submitted. We did go ahead and submit different plans because they had asked for that. And in my response, I said, unless variance is granted. A lot of my reasonings were things that you guys have already discussed. As well as the fact that to install a brand new piece of equipment only to tape it up and close it down and perhaps not reopen it at any point seems a little futile.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Thank you, appreciate it.
Make a motion.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion to approve because, free water would contain would be offered free of charge. I move to approve the variance on the side, for the 2012 common code ground, but we get 2020-3038 to the middle drinking fountain area 51 ice cream located at 100 East Common Street.
Second. We have a second.
Higdon. Alderman McLendon.
Aye.
Alderman Hobbs. Alderman Harrison.
Aye.
Motion granted. 17, approved bid application for Hernando Ball Classic Soccer Tournament. Is there a motion?
Approved.
Second? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion granted. 18, authorize the mayor to sign an agreement of Soda County, Mississippi, and the city of Hernando, Mississippi for the relocation of the water line associated with the construction and realignment of Holly Springs Road. Any questions? Any questions?
Sorry.
The cost?
But the cost and everything, you're gonna work on it.
County has set a maximum that they would pay. Just under 40,000.
$39, your estimate's 37. No, 39,730. Yeah, not to exceed that.
Not to exceed that they will pay.
Why is it having to be moved?
Well, there has to be a fire hydrant right in the middle where the new road's gonna be. They just asked that the fire hydrant be moved. I think that's, probably need to put a new water line under their new road if, it's gonna stay there from now on, so they agreed to that. kind of what transpired of having to move it. And we're taking some quotes right now. We've got 2 people that have said they'd give me quotes to do the work. So hopefully next week we'll come back with 2 quotes to be approved.
So how did they come up with their number? County.
How they come up with that number? That's my number.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion. Adopt redistricting ordinance.
Madam,
Gotta be clear. Did y'all see the email, Ms. Brooks? That Ms. Brooks' email. I'm out of town and will not be able to attend a meeting tomorrow. I want to request remove item number 19, redistricting to the November 17th. I know Sonny is still in the hospital too. Our prior committee won't be able to call a meeting. I was trying to find out if she was available between 9 and 17, but couldn't get a response. We got a motion. Do we have a discussion?
No, we voted on this last meeting, correct?
Yeah.
We didn't vote on it redistricting.
You voted, y'all voted to approve the map, You have to adopt an ordinance.
Can I ask what the difference is?
Yes, the ordinance is a written document. I mean, you had 6 maps, y'all had to approve one of them. And, the descriptions had to be written for the map that was approved. And the ordinance has to be adopted. Make that change without.
So basically, this is just a legal description of what we passed at that time.
You didn't adopt an ordinance last time because we couldn't have an ordinance prepared because we didn't know the map. Y'all would, approve.
Can you tell me the last date that we can pass this? It will be able to go into effect.
Well, if it be the last day, but based on regular meetings, you would need to do it by the next meeting, unless a special call meeting after. I do it by the first. I think the ordinance should be in place by the beginning of the year.
And you can go through the time frame steps. So if it, once the board approves it, if it's
Just
approved,
just like any other ordinance, it's not, it's not an emergency or something, so there's 30 days from the date that, it's approved before it's final. And it has to be published in the paper 3 times.
30 days.
It's like any other. It's like any other ordinances as far as time.
so for the elections to happen next year, and for somebody to qualify, when is this got to be put in place?
It should be in place by the beginning of the year.
January 1. And for somebody to qualify, when is this got to be put in place?
It should be in place by the beginning of the year.
January 1.
Yes. But, I mean, you asked, technically, y'all could call a special meeting on, November the 30th. But if you're gonna go by the regular meetings, the next meeting would be the last meeting that you can do it and fall within the 30 days. If you waited past that, it wouldn't
I don't think it would be fair. I mean, I think you should, there's no rule that you couldn't do it later, but that wouldn't be fair to anybody who wants to run for office without having it in place by the beginning of the year.
That would open us up for a lawsuit, possibly.
Well, possibly. I mean, I think we need to do the right thing and have it in place by the beginning of the year.
Could you explain how the emergency ordinance works?
Yes, this isn't an emergency.
If I'm gonna get a lawsuit, it'd be.
What's the difference for emergency?
Like if you had a storm event or flood and we needed to pass an emergency ordinance to buy, or to get a right of way, or you needed to pass an ordinance to vary our regulations to allow people to do something for, flood control, or let's say you had a bunch of damaged properties and you wanted to, revise our ordinance to allow for, instead of them having to have demolition permits according to our code, that you could waive that, those would be emergency type.
Do not approve the redistricting ordinance, then what do we do?
Then what do you mean, what do you do?
I mean, what do we?
That time.
Well, we won't have the ordinance drawn up unless we.
You got it right there.
I mean, another one or something.
If you go to a different plan, you have to do another ordinance.
If you go to a different plan, then, you know, I explained that before. I mean, you know, to go to a different plan, you're not gonna have enough time. Mr. Carter explained that too. You know, you've got to.
So this ordinance is what it is, in order for us to have.
This ordinance was drafted in accordance with the map that was approved at the last meeting.
The map that was approved at the last meeting.
Correct.
Any more questions? Questions from the audience? Well, we got a motion, we got. Roll call.
Alderman McLendon,
Give me the motion one more time, please.
this is a table based on the request.
Nay.
Alderman Hobbs. Alderman Harris. Alderman Miller. Alderman Hickey.
Nay.
Motion granted. Item number 20. Approve utility bill adjustment document. Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion granted. 21, appeal water leak adjustment denial for Tiffany Hill. Sure, yeah, you come over here and see.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not. This was weird.
So I guess when we, the reason we're on the docket is water bill, $14. I think probably everyone would agree it's pretty crazy. For a new home, in Kilbrook subdivision, I think I talked to you. So we originally thought maybe there was a leak, because the bill itself is 74,000 gallons, and so we used in a home, which is quite a bit of water. Got notes here that about a 1-inch water line, I think I talked to him from the house, 1-inch water line will fill about 17 gallons a minute, or 1,020 gallons per hour. So our water bill represents about 74 hours approximately, so you can do the exact math. It's about 74 hours of full, just full everything up. That's about 2.5 hours per day of water, which we didn't water that much. It was a new home. The meter started, apparently we took the residents, started at 2,000 gallons. Our first reading was at 76,000 gallons, so it was an increase of 74,000 gallons. Now, I've got statements from neighbors from across the street that said before we took ownership of the home, the builder had the irrigation going, but to set the new sod in, day and night. One said, definitely more than 2 hours, I can attest to that. Sprinklers would be going most of the day, and sometimes possibly by accident, we left on through the night as well. If that's the truth, if I took ownership of that meter at 2,000 as well, if that's the truth, if I took ownership of that meter at 2,000 gallons, we're saying that builder who would leave those things running, he had big sprinklers, I got little ones. He only used 2 hours worth of water. So at first we thought, maybe it was a leak. There is no leak. We checked it. They checked it. There's no leak. The other thing is, when we realized this, on October 4th, I went out myself to take a look at the meter. Meter read 80,000 gallons. Our next bill comes in, it says the meter reading, 2 weeks later, a week later, is 80,000 gallons. So I appreciate the $54 bill, but I think it's wrong as well. Because I read it a couple weeks before this, and it read this same thing. So I don't know if we're having a problem with meter reading, how we're reading it, but I don't believe that I took that meter at 2,000 gallons. I believe, I don't know what it was, I don't know what that number is. Now, if I use the hour, 1,000 gallons an hour, I look at my normal usage, what they say I use, plus, plus I watered, well, I did worst case scenario, I'm supposed to water 3 times a week, about an hour and a half, which is fine. So if I did that, which I told her I never made that goal, okay? But if I did, it'd be about 18,000 gallons. So to me, I feel like I use anywhere from 18 to 22,000 gallons, 74,000 gallons, that's what I use. Additionally, when we called and said, hey, we're kind of disputing this bill, because obviously I don't see how I would use that much water. We had a few people from the water, so I don't know who works through it. Everyone knew we disputed the bill. So I talked to Tom on the phone. He said he had to come to the board meeting. At that point, when he said there's nothing that he can do through the channels that I was trying to go through, I paid the bill that day. Apparently that was a day when he said there's nothing that he can do through the channels that I was trying to go through. I paid the bill that day. Apparently that was a day late. They charged me the $77 on top of the $114, and then the card they used $793. And I just don't believe that that's a proper law. So I don't see how mathematically it would work. We just moved in that house from Fort Creek subdivision. We were on Nesbitt Water. Nesbitt Water, we found out we had a leak because the whole neighborhood was flooded, and the bill was, I think, $126, and we flooded the entire neighborhood. We did not do anything like that here. I watered twice a week, but I'm going to give myself credit for 3 because, I am. And it's 790.
Did you have to crew it when you were in Nesbitt?
We had to crew on y'all's side, right? So we had Hernando, sewer, and then Nesbitt water, right? So that's what we had there. So probably on y'all's side would have been another whatever. Let's call it $300. So I just don't see. I don't see how we're saying this is consistent with our meter reading. If on October 4th, that reading was 80, and now this next bill says 9/15 to 10/15, it's almost 2 weeks later, and we're still at 80. Now, I didn't look at it tonight to see. I didn't look at it what this was, because I didn't know that was going to happen. But I can tell you that the builder, who is a city employee, did not use 2,000 gallons. I think we can all agree to that. I've got other statements saying that on their job, they would see the sprinklers running day in, day out before we bought the house. Sometimes multiple people would say that, so I would hope everyone would agree that's not 2 hours worth of water.
Any more questions? Just holler at Mike tonight.
Okay, so, we got, Tim Keel took possession of the house or signed the utility application on 7/22. And we were notified to go and read the meters, we're on 7/24 at 2,000 gallons of water. So I've been aware that the meter would have changed possession. We've been out testing the meter, meter's reading accurately. And as far as our paperwork goes, we have here lines up for charge.
Any questions? Any questions?
I have a question. How do we know they're reading those meters correctly? There's something that shows that they're reading those meters correctly.
Is that a radio read?
No, it is not, it's a vision read meter. We actually get out of the truck, manually read that meter.
And y'all do make mistakes time to time, as you,
Yes, there are mistakes made from time to time where they put some on the computer or something that mistake works. We all have to out the gallons. Usually we catch those. This is stands for us. Like that, so.
is there any more building going around your house? Is it?
There's building on each side. Now, they were just doing that.
So you have construction going on both sides of your house?
Now, mind you, if that was a case of them maybe going off on water, that'd be them doing almost 3 hours a day. I don't know where all that water would go. We would see that much water. We're talking about a lot of
No,
water.
I was just curious, I'm not saying that.
No, I mean, yes, there's building going on each side. At that point, I think both of them will probably just moving everything. I don't know if they have paths. Yeah.
What stage are they in right now?
Outside, they're probably starting on the inside. Well, they've got some outside finishing to do. It's inside.
Do they have water meters? You know, Mike?
I know. There it is.
When I went on the 22nd, we weren't taking ownership of the house until the 26th. I was paying my, or the 24th, when I went there on the 22nd, I was paying my bill and doing my deposit for when we wasn't that day. It wasn't supposed to be.
More questions?
How much was your water bill this past month?
$54. For 4,000 gallons, second one.
And we never changed the meter?
No, not anything documented.
I can tell you they did have to come out, I don't know if they documented that. They did have to come out and move up the meter because it was too deep. I think a day or two before we thought it's the same. We went back in. Oh, also, I had to clear it off. I couldn't read the meter. I couldn't read the meter. It was completely covered over with mud.
questions?
Curious, Mikey, if we were to run this through our formula that we use when we issue a credit to help someone, have we done that? I'm just curious to know what the number would look like in terms of the credit. Because if I understood you correctly, you think your bill should be more like 55.
But, I mean, yes, sir, but I do agree that first month where I did water side, and I actually estimated high as to what I did. I was supposed to do 3 times a week. I typically only did 2, but I'm gonna say I did 3, just to be fair. I figured if I had if I had a sprinkler on, which actually you would probably agree, put some restriction on that 17 gallons a minute, I would use 18,000 at the absolute max. That's a lot. I don't think I did, but I'm just trying to estimate high. As high as I can say there was not one week where I was able to achieve the 3 parties that I was told I needed to do. And that was for 45 minutes on one side and 45 minutes on the other. So I'm saying, let's say an hour and a half, because the way I'm together, and that's about $18,000. What I can figure out. Of which I was fully expecting, a higher bill, on 18,000 gallons, not the 74 at 715. It's just, I can't see how that's possible.
Like, what I would like to see, I think this same thing, areas thing that when they come to a figure of whether or not they've been approved or denied, that we have the numbers in there, so just in case we do decide to do something, we'll have some numbers to go with. And, I would just like to make a motion to table this, and you provide us with those numbers, and then we'll put it in our next meeting, table it to the 17th.
You already talking about history for that one?
Now, we're talking about something that we actually be done in-house. And, we'll go from there.
Yeah, I wanted to see that number just to get a feel for what kind of credit we're talking about. If we were to approve doing that, I'd like to see a number. And I know that's sticking out down 2 more weeks, but it's being done effective, not
Yes,
urgent.
no, we agree, that sounds fair.
We can add it on everyone that comes for us, they will, recommend approval, or either recommend denial, or they're not yelling at them. I guess I believe what possible doing something else.
Make a vote.
I make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion read. Bill Waterley, adjustment for people deal.
Well, I think we're gonna hear everything on here on this, I agree. And I don't know if it's the numbers, so I'm ready off of the motion on this.
Okay, Andrew wants to make a motion to come up with some numbers.
I make a motion to deal in the amount of $205.16. Finance company has legal been on the city benefits of the water, and all the place that water, city verification, water, and trying to make part of them.
Second. Roll call.
Alderman Harris.
Aye.
Alderman Miller. Alderman Hinkton. Alderman Glidden. Alderman Hawks.
Motion read.
If we were, mid-one conference is coming up on January the 13th, the 12th to the 13th. And I want we put on the agenda to make allow, necessary personnel to vote, and be made. And the reservation can be made because they're opening around the hotel. Also, in regards to, with the COVID-19 going on, there's a lot of webinars going on, and the cost of the webinar is $25. I think it's a waste of time to come to the board every time for a webinar for a $25 fee. And there's no kind of way, I'm gonna give to the attorney for this, is that we can, stipulate that for these webinars, that they can be pre-approved with the $2 authority or something, I'm asking.
Yeah.
They have to come.
You can't,
That's what I'm asking.
unfortunately, you can't do that. You can't pre-approve expenses.
Okay, so with that, especially the problem is, I would like to see you make sure that.
Well, let me say, if there's a subscription service for a webinar or something, you could,
No, it's just the.
but if they're just
That fee based.
You can do it, and ask for a expense report, because we can see if the board approved it. You can do it, and ask for an expense report, because we can see if the board approved it.
it's not,
Well, I mean, it'd be a nice expense, but if the board covers it, but it'd be expense report.
how did you do that for?
I think it down the road, after the problem is, to our next meeting, that we can have our people to go to these webinars, because they put enough out there, we know when they're gonna be, so we get on the agenda. I still want to put on the board, I make one that we, to the webinar, and make it necessary to go to the place.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Thank you all.